right, let's get it.
Let's do it.
All right, mic check, mic check. Motor Masters Podcast, your host, Maine, of course. I got a special guest across from me. If you people don't know who this is Jordan Johnson. This is the Commissioner of District 1.
District 1.
District 1. You know, for a long time, we were saying it was another organization he's under. It was something different. COY.
Back when I was with the Young Democrats.
Young Democrats, yeah. For a long time, that was an announcement, you know.
Yeah.
How you been?
I'm here, still alive, still kicking, you know.
I always wondered if they were going to do a meme with you when you first got in the office and then when you leave the office.
It feel like it's on the way, man. My hairline, like I'm like now getting it painted on.
You still got the sharp tape line though.
It's fake.
Wash the paint. I wash the paint in the summertime. It's Augusta, Georgia. It slide down your neck, you know, line your forehead, and you don't want that on the news. That'd be a meme for real.
It's literally paint right now. It's walking away, and like I shut off. I shaved all this off, my chin and everything off. Not because it was cool, but it was like, hey, that stuff was thinning. So the job, it'll do it to you. It will.
That's funny. Hey man, just a quick, like, you know, 2 years, man. It's been a long time since I've seen you like in this building. I've seen you out, of course. When I see you out places, I'm not gonna lie, I like to think that I'm important in. You know, I feel like, oh, he's here and I'm here.
Oh no,
I must be important.
No,
you know. No. When I seen you at the CeeLo, remember when CeeLo came to Payne, he was there. I said, I'm important. I'm in the room with Jordan Johnson.
No. I'm in the room with Maine.
Nah.
That's how I'm thinking. Like, man, it's big stuff.
Hit me up.
Everybody know that. So I'm always honored, man, to be around you, to talk to you, and for you to still be rocking with me after all this time.
Definitely, man. I appreciate you, man. So I want to, first, before we get into it, I'm going to start talking about, you know, your upbringing, where you come from, but tell people just who you are and what you do right now before we get started and everything.
Yeah, Jordan Johnson, County Commissioner. Got elected back in 2020 to the Augusta Commission at 26 years old. Took office shortly after that. I served District 1, so that's your downtown, East Augusta, Laney Walker, Harrisburg, Sand Hills, Central Augusta by Richmond Academy, the airport out here. So you go past Apple Valley out by the paper mill. The district is pretty big. It's a big district. And so that's what I've been doing for the last, 2.5 years now. I'm in my third year now.
Yeah. Time flies.
Yeah, it does. I said, when you're having fun, it's a lot of fun, man. In this role, it's a lot of work, but time flies. So third year.
Yeah, that's
looking back.
Third is the charm, man.
Yeah.
It might be a smooth year for you. You know, you got your rookie out the way,
we'll see.
The sophomore jinx out the way. Now it's the third year. Now it's getting real.
Yeah.
And then, because soon you would have to go up for, I guess, re-election or something like that, right? 2024.
2024.
So that's next year, as you know.
Next year.
Now this is the time. I hate to say it's gonna sound being funny, but this is the time where everything you say you were gonna do, you gotta start doing that. I was like, hey, I came through.
Man,
this is the I came through year.
Right. I'm happy because, I don't like to toot my own horn. I don't. I like to give updates. But what I can say is that when I ran for office in 2020, I wrote a bunch of big checks, right? And I had folks say, well, you're writing checks that you might not be able to cash. But then when you talk about drainage in East Augusta, you're talking about revitalization plans in areas like Sand Hills that hadn't had a revitalization plan in 20 years. You're talking about standing up a homeless task force the first time in over 20 years. Like those kind of things people can see, they can touch it.
Right.
We've been very fortunate to be able to get some of those things done. And the thing about it, we're not done. We're just getting started. And it's not just my individual efforts. The commission has been very gracious in some of the projects we've been trying to take on. So we had a lot of work. We said we were going to do a lot of things, and we're just trying to check that list off and try to have some fun in the meantime.
Yo, I like I said, and I always say this, and I say smooth, not in the sense of saying like you duck and dodge, but you're a very smooth talker. I'm gonna say that no more, right? And I always tell you this. I always say, I say anybody, I said Joe Johnson. He's smooth. Every Joe is smooth. Yeah. Joe Johnson is a smooth alpha player. You're a smooth talker. So there's two people I like to kind of channel my inner self in when I'm in a bind with a conversation or a debate or something like that, right? Especially with women, of course, right? So it's like it's two people, right? It's Jordan Johnson and then it's Joe Button.
Oh,
for some reason, he can talk his way out of stuff because he just asks a lot of questions. Mm-hmm. So he's not answering anything, but he make you feel like you're doing something, like and then you just so smooth. It's like, hey, did you answer the question or not? But I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it anyway because it was so lengthy and it was so like full of knowledge. I feel like you told me something.
I just think that here it is. I feel like everything I say now, I'm gonna be thinking, that dude, he just
gotta set the tone.
No, but I just feel like whenever we're having a dialogue, I could do one or two things. I can tell you the truth, or I can tell you the truth, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna tell you like it is. I'm gonna tell you the truth, and I don't got to be belligerent about it. Just tell you the truth.
See, you just did it just then again, but it's all
Did
good.
I?
It's all good. It's all good.
It's
You're
true.
a smooth guy. I like that, though.
I just try to tell the truth, man. That's all.
I want to start. I want to start with you, and I know people already know the story about you from Augusta, but a lot of things that I do, I try to channel like the audience we have here, and also people who are looking to see what Augusta has to offer and things of that nature. I mean, I ain't got to run down the spiel to you about the name. You know, the name stands for itself. It's just we have a lot more things in this city to offer than the Masters. It's 365 days, 52 weeks, so 51 weeks out of the year. The Masters not on our mind.
Right.
I'm pretty sure you have things dealing with the Masters because of your district and what you do, but a lot of your problems that come across your desk throughout the year probably aren't necessarily Masters involved.
No, not at all.
So first of all, let's tell them like where you from, where you grew up at. Where you upbringing, you born and raised here. You know.
Yeah. So my mom was born in East Augusta, and she raised my sister there. And when I was born, we moved to Southside, Dallwood Terrace, and so we went from Delta Manor to Dallwood Terrace. And from Dallwood Terrace, my mom and dad were married, and they decided to get out of the projects and move out to South Augusta. My mom and dad got married around the late 90s, early 2000s. And we went out to South Augusta. From there, I lived out there, went to Cross Creek, went to Helpsipper Middle School, even spent some time at McBean Elementary School. After I got older and, lived a little life, not too much because I came back at 24, I think it was. But I came back down to East Augusta. I lived in Eastview. Folks who listen, they know what the bottom is.
Right.
So like I came right back down, literally came from Brown Road, Spirit Point, Brown Road, all the way back down to Eastview because that's where I came from.
Yeah, Brown Road. I like Brown Road. To me, is beautiful. It's a lot of development there.
Yeah.
God bless. I've got that district right.
Yeah.
But because you don't mess it up, you don't want to go backwards.
No.
But you mentioned, being from South Side, right, and then your parents deciding to get married and move out the hood. What did they do? Like, what was the occupation that they were able to make that jump, or what was their mindset? If to say, I'm gonna take her from here, and we're gonna bring y'all here.
Yeah. So my dad, he worked at a factory. The same factory he's working at now, he used to work at then.
Okay.
So my dad ain't had a new job in 20 plus years. Like this man is the epitome of like, go to work, do your job, go home. So he was the distribution man over at FPL. He's been there for a long time, worked in shipping and receiving. He's the guy he's in the bone room, so he's in the cold. My mom worked at KB Toys. So that tells you a lot about like where we came from. Mama worked at KB Toys in the mall. She worked at Hardee's back when they used to sell chicken, like whole pieces of chicken. And then she was studying at Augusta State to be a nurse. And eventually she became an RN. She got a bachelor's degree to be a registered nurse. And it was just history from there. And in the meantime, we stayed with my grandma. My grandma was a retired worker from Kings Mill. So, I mean, we just had that community village, that vibe that, y'all go take care of your business. I got the kids. And as they stacked and built, we ran around Southside until they came and got us.
Got you. So I know you ain't always been a smooth talk all your life. So like, what were you like as a child? Like, what is Jordan like? 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old Jordan? Like, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do? Like, what's things you got into?
So I've always been like, I've been an introvert most of my life, and I still am to a certain degree. People say, you lying. No, I'm not. I'm very shy, very introverted. If I don't have to talk, I won't. But when I was a kid, I wanted to be a wrestler. I was like a big wrestling fan. Everybody know I'm a wrestling fan.
That's my notes, wrestling.
Like, love wrestling, man. I used to walk around with a yellow towel on my head because I thought I was Ric Flair. Ric Flair, Stone Cold, Steve Austin, The Rock, all those guys. And then I wanted to be a talk show host. Loved watching talk shows. Ricky Lake, Montel, Jenny Jones, Sally Jesse, Raphael, Oprah. Like, we were on a rotation with my grandma.
Which is so funny because you say introvert and you say you talk. I get it, though. I definitely get it.
I don't know how that worked because I used to literally walk around with a brush like it was a microphone interviewing people. And then when I got out of high school, I went to school for broadcast journalism and realized, hey, it ain't no money in that. So, like, I don't know where the mix between wanting to talk for a living and then wanting to go into a shell and just kind of be by myself. My ideal night or my ideal day is just chilling at home, lights down, candle on, listening to music, watching TV.
Very smooth life.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
because as a kid, that's what we did. We used to run around outside, and when the street lights came on, we were back inside watching TV, chilling.
How do you feel? I don't know when you found this out. I'm just asking now.
Yeah.
How did you feel when you found out wrestling wasn't really real?
Well, I mean,
it is real.
I always knew it.
Okay, you always knew.
I always knew it. It's like a movie. Like, we know Black Panther's not real, but when you see King T'Challa, you feel him. Like you just want to salute him. When he died, we didn't feel like we lost Chadwick Boseman. We lost James Brown again. We lost our king again. And so when you look at wrestling, for me, it's more so a couple things. It's an escape from the reality of the day, right? All the BS that comes across the desk throughout the day. You watch wrestling and all of a sudden you're caught up in what Stone Cold Steve Austin got going on. But for me as a child, the biggest thing was just that was me and my dad's way of bonding with each other. He would come home from work. He would take his work clothes off. He would put on some night clothes. He would get in his recliner. We would watch Monday Night Raw. And that was literally the only time that I had to spend with my dad at the time. So for me, it was just like, we came together. We had that moment. And that's literally been my bonding. He's in the hospital right now. And last night, we were sitting in the bed watching Monday Night Raw.
That's dope. That's
He
dope.
looked at me and said, I don't watch this stuff no more. Hey, we watching tonight.
That's his voice?
Yeah.
That's your dad's voice?
That's how you sound now. I don't watch this stuff no more. I bet you don't. But it was bonding for me, you know what I mean? So as a kid, I was always just about connection, family, and just doing the right thing because life wasn't easy at all. So having an escape from the realities of that day was important to me.
What about school? Like, what kind of student were you? And now I know what kind of kid you were. What kind of student were you?
I was a teacher's pet. I was.
I can see that. I can see that.
I was. So my whole thing was
not in a negative way. Just give me that vibe right now. It's kind of rubbing off on you a little bit.
I knew where the power was.
Yeah, politics. You was in politics before you was in politics.
My mom used to tell me. She said, when you go to school, you sit down, you shut up, you do your work. Whatever that teacher tell you to do, you do it. And I did it. And, to this day, I have teachers that, man, I would give my shirt if I had to. Miss Polite, 7th grade teacher. Miss Robinson, 4th grade teacher. Miss Brown, 3rd grade teacher. Miss Johnson, she's my kindergarten teacher. She's a Zeta. I'm a Sigma. When I crossed, I couldn't wait to tell Miss Johnson that I was a Sigma. So like all of these teachers, Miss Hill, they were great people. So I always had this respect for my educators, for my teachers, man. And as a student, like I don't think I was profound. I wasn't always on the AB honor roll. I wasn't always making straight A's. I just tried to show up and do my best, and I tried. And I think that's the big thing about like today with kids. Like I think we push them to be so much instead of just saying, hey, just go try your best.
Yeah.
And from trying my best, man, I was on student council, ROTC in high school. Like trying my best got me through them years. So like I don't know. When you say what kind of student I was, I don't really know. But I didn't get in no trouble, so I guess I was a pretty decent kid.
I mean, like I said, even if you were like being a teacher's pet or whatever, it's kind of like it keep you in the clear a lot of times too, to make sure you don't get in trouble. It's like, hey, my teacher relying on me, so I gotta do right.
I hated trouble. Hated it. So like I wanted to make sure that if
you do one small thing, it's like they gonna blow it up because you. It was, as opposed to the kid that's always making noise. It's like, hey, but he just threw a desk across the room.
Yep.
I just broke my pencil on purpose. Like, I got in trouble for?
Exactly.
So that's how I was doing.
If Miss Robinson said sit down, no talking, I was gonna make sure she saw me sitting down, not talking, because I don't want to. I didn't want to get in trouble. Mostly because I knew who was at home. Like my mama was not the nicest parent when she got off work. Like let's be real. I love my mom. I respect my mom. I do anything for her, but my mom was not a joke. And my dad just had to stare. Like he would just look at you. It don't matter what you had done. If you did something wrong, he wouldn't yell. He wouldn't raise his voice. Just look at you. And then my stepdad, let's not even get on that topic. He was a retired sergeant in the Army. And, man, he was tough. So, like, I didn't want to go home to all that. I didn't want to deal with all that.
Look, I don't blame you, man.
I got in trouble one time in the 3rd grade. My teacher told my stepdaddy I had to rake leaves literally for like 2 years. Literally, no joke. She pulled up because she lived in the neighborhood. She knocked on the door and told my stepdad what I had done. And if I told you what it was, you'd be like, hey, but that's normal. But I got in trouble for it. He literally made me rake leaves 2 summers in a row. Like,
no money, just do it.
No money. Hated it. So
he owes some bread to this day. You know that, right?
Well, that's a different topic. But at the end of the day, I ain't want to get in no trouble. That was my MO.
I don't blame you, and that's dope. I like to hear that because, like I said, when in the field you're in now, I do know a lot of. I know it's crazy, but a lot of your past always it comes back because that's how that game plays when it comes to politics and stuff like that. So I just wonder, all your life did you know like I'm gonna be in politics, I'm gonna be in this, I'm gonna act this way, but it wasn't like that. It just naturally you just had a pretty decent childhood, you were just a good person.
I had parents who care, and then my godparents. So my goddad, I had to give him credit. He passed away in 2013 or 14, but he was he loved politics. That's all he did. Whenever we went to their house in Kingston, he and my godmom, all we did was watch political stuff, and I hated it. I just hated it. before I could even go outside and play, like I had to watch like President Clinton and Al Gore and all those guys, Howard Dean back in the day, Jesse Jackson, like listening to them, talk, like just watching CNN around the clock. But I never really wanted to be in politics until President Obama was elected. When I saw Barack Obama become president of the United States in 2008, I knew for a fact that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. Not because I knew, like, not because Barack was just Barack, but just the whole idea that, you know, why not? Like, he did it. He broke the glass ceiling. You can do it too. But making sure that we were helping people, like, that, listening to his speeches changed my life.
You in high school, we graduated. What class are you?
I was in the ninth grade when he was elected president.
You class of what, though?
2012.
2012. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
2012.
So, and I asked that question because you say you went off to school.
No, I was here in Augusta.
Okay, you went to school here, but you went for broadcasting,
Yes.
right? But you said you kind of fell back from it because there was no money in it.
With no money in it.
But when you found that out, like, there was no money. When
I started doing my research. So I got senioritis when I was in the 10th grade. I did not like going to school. Like, I enjoyed high school, but I played around a lot. Like, I was a leader at the school. But my grades, I didn't cut the mustard, man. I played, and I regret that a lot. But no, I mean, I was realizing, so really the only reason I wanted to go into broadcast journalism was because Oprah was retiring that year. And that's all you saw. Like, and I remember watching her growing up, watching Barbara Walters, watching Max Robinson, all these guys. And I had the opportunity to decide what I want to do. And the school really did not do a good job preparing us for college. Let's just be straight. They
you
did
went to
not.
Cross Creek. That's crazy.
Yeah.
They said, "Hey, I'm telling you what the streets say, and the streets say that's the school."
It is.
Oh, okay.
It is. Cross Creek was the place to be, and it still is. But when I'm telling you, when it came down time to like get up, go to like decide on what school to go to, Cross Creek was so large. It was so many students. They had so many great kids. So like, if you weren't really on top of your stuff,
gotcha. That's a good problem.
You slipped.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
you slipped through. They weren't gonna grab you and make you do it. Either you wanted to or you didn't. So I mean, I wanted to. I wasn't an honor grad, but I wasn't the bottom of my class either. But I did have good guidance counselors. They helped me. When it came down to like preparing us for like certain things, when I say that, I mean, I didn't get the help with like knowing your major, charting your plan, sticking to it. Like, I changed my major a bunch of times, and like I feel like if I had that foundation, I would not have done that. So I wouldn't have wasted that time going to school for broadcasting and realizing, hey, there ain't no money here.
With you being like an alumni of that school, like, is that something you try to bring back there? You try to make sure that students from the future have that kind of foundation? Yeah.
So we just had a career day a few months back, and this is exactly the same thing I told him. I said, if I could go back to my sophomore, my senior year of high school, I would do it. I would do it and change so much, because at that time, the only thing on my mind was leaving home, going to school, having fun, and not caring about nothing else. But knowing what I know now, if I had known it then, who knows what would have happened. I think I landed pretty decently, but imagine what could have been, right? And I think at the end of the day, that is why mentor programs are so important. That is why big sister and big brother programs are so important, because we've had those experiences. And when I was at the career day, I told them straight up, you better focus, because you only get one shot at this high school thing. People don't really realize how much impact your high school years have on your entire life. Your high school years, they shape you so much.
I have a theory, and it's not like patent down to a T yet, but I'm gonna just say it right now. One of my theories is that high school is really a huge representation of how your life will be or can be, right? And I say that because if you do graduate, you have a good high school year, you graduate, all that stuff, cool. Maybe you're in the in crowd, you're not in the in crowd, whatever. But in real life, once the real world hits you, everything, whatever job you at, whatever profession you in, it kind of reminds you of high school.
Yeah.
So if I work at a warehouse, it's a warehouse, high school setting, right? There's a bunch of people there, right? Now you got the cool kids, you got the popular people, you got the good side of politics, the bad side of politics, you know what I'm saying? You got relationships, you have to make sure you know this person, not know that person, just like high school.
Yeah.
You got to take certain things seriously. You got slackers, you got people who go above and beyond.
Right.
You got principals, you got people to answer to, you got people to don't have to answer to, you got teachers, you got leaders, you got all these different job titles or just titles of people or types of person you can be, where it's like the same thing in high school. Yeah. So like it's super important because it's shaping you, because life is going to be that same way. Right. Everywhere you go from now on. Right. You see what I'm saying? Only difference in high school is like you get chances because you got the puberty, you got your age, and you got a full adult yet. But after that, it's a wrap.
And no chances, no second chances. Very rarely do you get a second chance to hit it out the park again. And so I said all that just to say, you know, and I love that example, bro. I really do, because if we can go to our high schools and really start like honing in on that, who knows where our kids will land? Who knows?
And I used to hate that concept of, you know, if I just reach one of you guys, that's all that's important, you know. And I didn't understand it. When you're young, you don't understand,
Right?
But then when you get older, like, damn, you know, imagine a bunch of people,
Right.
just hitting one person, though, and it's like different people. You see what I'm saying? So now you done shaped a generation or a future generation coming after you to be a certain way or to look at life a certain way. Because sometimes, like, you might go talk to somebody and they might not take it from you, might take it from another person, but somebody might take it from you. Right. Now y'all done reached two people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Based on y'all experience, and I think that and you're right. The brother and sister programs, the big brother program, we need more of them. We need a lot of them too. We need a lot in every asset of in every space in life, whether it's sports, whether it's art, school, just real life, you know, anything like that. Because somebody somewhere has done it before you, right? And they can, you know, say, "Hey, look, I made this mistake." And I'm not saying you not make a person ain't gonna make a mistake. Everybody human, but just knowing the mistakes you made or the things you wish you can get back or what you would do differently may help or shape somebody's decision for that present time. Right. If that makes sense.
It's important. It's so important.
I think so too. I like that. I like that idea. So, and I asked that question just because, like I said, you went to Cross Creek, and then you having that ideology of, you know, y'all not being prepared for certain things, but it makes sense of what they're saying. You had so many good students, they didn't have time to really. Some schools is different. Yeah, you got a little bit of good students like that, you know, and it's like, we gonna push these
Cross Creek
20.
was huge. I'm talking about Cross Creek was huge. So my baby sister's at Cross Creek now. That school is so different than when I was there. Cross Creek was huge. You couldn't even hardly walk through the hallway when the bell rang. You can walk easily now. I don't know what's going on. But like, it was so big. The class was so large. Like the class of 2012 was like at least 120 deep. It was huge. Like, and that's probably not even close to what it really was. Right. The class was huge. And so, of course, you had your undergrads, your top 10. And if you look at the folks who came out of my class, man, you got so many entrepreneurs, so many business leaders, so many good people out of that class. Like, you had to connect. You had to get in and get out. You had to figure it out. But you had good guidance counselors who would help you. But when it came down time to just, like, learn about financial aid, learning about that refund check, you don't use it. Like, learning about those small things. And I don't think that's an indictment on Cross Creek or the school system in general. I think it's just public education in this country. Definitely. How it just doesn't prepare you. It doesn't prepare you for buying a house, for taxes, for the things that you do every day. I still don't use the Pythagorean theorem. Still don't know. Like, I know how fast things fall, 9.8 meters per second square, but I don't use that. Yeah. But I do pay my taxes. I do need to know how to do certain things, fill out W-2s. I all of those things I should know how to do. Schools should teach those things. When I got to college, I was so confused. But anyways, I said all that just to say we have a responsibility to go in there and really help our kids not make the mistakes that we made. And God, I feel like I'm sounding like my parents now, like back in my day. But for real, like, we can help the kids not make the same mistakes we made.
I agree. I 100% agree. Yeah. I 100% agree.
They were learning lessons, but I think there was an easier way to take.
So, all right. So you go to Cross Creek, you graduate college. Like, at what point in your career or your life you like, okay, I want to get into politics now? And I know you said Obama, but was it solely him in 2008 that you said I want to do this, or like what was it that said I'm gonna take some steps into politics in my own hometown?
Well, that's when I started paying attention. I started paying attention when President Obama was elected. But I started getting involved.
Was it because he was black or just because?
Well, that had a lot to do with it. I ain't gonna lie to you. That had a lot to do with it.
Hey, I want to make sure I get one clean answer for you. I know I get one. That's not a smooth answer. That's Jordan Johnson.
He was a black man. You know, he was black man, beautiful family, and the way he spoke was like butter. Like, what?
Smooth. Hey, smooth. Now I know you get it from.
Well, I mean,
now I know you get it from.
Let me tell you, on a weekend, right? And I shouldn't be saying this. I should not be saying this because they're gonna say, man, that man is so. On a weekend when my friends are out at Red Wing or, 1102 or whatever the case, I'm literally at home in the mirror reciting Barack Obama speeches.
I can see you doing that.
Literally. like it was all about. Here's my thing. This is my mentality, and I try to take this mentality into everything that I do. I don't know when I'm going to leave this world. Have no idea. I can walk out of this building right now and get hit by a car and be gone. What did I do while I was here? Am I wasting my time sowing my efforts, sowing my seeds, sowing my passions into things that I won't be able to cash in on, that I won't be able to show for? Or am I spending my time building something that I can sit back and say, you know, Jordan, you did it. You did it. Your kids can say, yeah, we good. My mom, I can buy her a new house. I can buy her a new car. Like everything that everybody talked about when we were kids, what we heard in the lyrics, like those things, man, those things is what really guided me. It's what made me want to do what I'm doing. And what am I trying to say? All I'm trying to say is I just didn't believe in wasting time. I knew at a young age, and I kind of felt that I was different. And I just figured, man, if I want to do this, I better start practicing now because ain't nobody going to give me no opportunity unless I snatch it. Ain't nobody going to grab me by the hand and say, come on, let me show you how to do it. Either you kick the door in with your own table in hand or you sit outside and you bang on the door and hope somebody lets you in. And I don't like banging on doors. And so I would take my time and try to learn the craft. If I wanted to be in politics, let me learn it. If I wanted to work with kids, let me figure out how to do that because that was my first profession, working at Boys and Girls Club.
Right.
So it's like, how do you do it? So man, go out, go play, go party. I'm cool. I still go out. I'll be a liar to say that I don't. But on the weekends, man, I was at home studying. I was reading. I was trying to find my next route. And it wasn't because I just had this burning desire to be in politics, but I literally just wanted to help people. I was in ministry before I even took on politics. I'm in the church, you know, preaching, doing homeless drives and stuff like that. It's always been about how to help somebody else. And there's a path that you take to do that. And that's what I'm trying to tell folks. Like, if you really want to get involved in this kind of stuff, you can do it. Like, you can absolutely do it. There's space for everybody to be involved in this world. But at the end of the day, what are you doing to make sure that your seat is reserved?
Right.
And that's just the mentality that I take. Ain't nobody going to give it to you.
You mentioned the Boys and Girls Club. I want to pass that part. When did you start working with them and why? Like, what was that?
I was working there because I needed a job. I was broke. I was dead ass broke. Excuse me, I don't know if I can say that.
You can say what you want to say.
I can say ass on this podcast.
Yeah, you can say you Jordan Johnson. I don't know if you know that or not.
Well, I know now that I'm gonna get calls. You should be saying I don't care. I was broke. I had a Dodge Charger, and my mama told me, she said, if you're gonna get this car, you need to get a job. And so I went and worked at UPS. Can you see me work at UPS?
Not really.
Driving forklifts. I was so lost my first day on that job.
Maybe at the front desk, like taking packages or something like that. Not the forklift.
I was working at the North Augusta plant, and the first day on the job, they saw my resume, they saw everything. It was not a good resume, but they brought me in, sat me in the workroom, and made me watch these training videos. I'm like, this ain't my life. I can't do this. So after a week or two, after just going through all those trainings, they put me on the forklift. They taught me how to use the forklift, and I kid you not, man. I walked in, got on the forklift, and my only job was to take the forks, move them, like take these big racks and put them on the truck, put them on the trailer. Literally lifting them up, put them on the trailer, lowering the forks, and coming back out and doing that the whole day.
Tell me about it.
Well, I hated my job. So I took the fork and I intentionally like screwed up, you know, the wedge. I can't go because I don't want to be incriminated. I don't want to incriminate myself. But the point I'm making is I hated that job so much. And I text my dad. I was like, man, I ain't doing this for the rest of my life. He said, oh, you see how I feel. So I remember applying for the Boys and Girls Club maybe like a few months or so before I got the job at UPS. And I just went in the break room. I never forget this. I went in the break room. I called the mayor's office, and the mayor's office wouldn't hire me. I called the congressman at the time. He wouldn't help me, and thank God, because he was a Republican. I'm a Democrat, but I didn't understand those dynamics. I was just looking for a job.
He was the ops. Okay.
Yeah. And I just prayed, that's all right, Lord, whatever. I still got to make this $500 car payment. Don't know what I'm going to do. I got a phone call from the Boys and Girls Club saying, hey, you applied to be a youth development professional. You still want a job? I'm like, I don't remember, but yeah, cool. Came in, Gary Winferry, great man. He did my interview. He said, Jordan, why do you want to work at the Boys and Girls Club? I said, because I love kids. He said, wrong answer. You're supposed to love kids and love monkeys. Tell me something else. I'm like, what do you want me to say? It's long story short, man, I got the job in around like 2013 or 14. And I stayed there until 2020 when I ran for office. I was a youth development professional at Dogwood Terrace Boys and Girls Club. Then I moved on to being a unit director at Lake Forest Heritage Academy in the South Augusta site that's open now. I was the first director at the South Augusta site. Then I did a couple summer camps at a couple other units. But those were the best times of my life, 100% best times of my life, because those kids meant everything to me. And when I see them in public right now, they still run up to me and I run up to them. Like, that was the best time of my life. And if I could go back, man, I would in a heartbeat. But I just wanted to help the kids. I really did. I never saw poverty firsthand outside of what I dealt with myself. I saw myself in those babies. I saw my mama in those moms. Like, for the first time in my life, I actually felt like I was operating in my calling, which is why that was the best part. That was the best time of my life, because I actually felt like that was my calling. And honestly, those years at Boys and Girls Club made me want to run for office, hands down.
What was it, like, the influence you had on the kids there?
It was the issues that I was hearing, man. My babies were coming to Boys and Girls Club with holes in their shoes, coming to Boys and Girls Club at 5 in the 5th grade and still couldn't read. I mean, moms were coming in, and I'm asking them, Johnny didn't want to do his homework during power hour. Like, what's going on? And she would tell me, I'm working 2 jobs. Like, I'm actually getting ready to take them home right now, and I'm going back out. I'm seeing it firsthand. And I'm thinking to myself, did my mama go through this? And come to find out, yes, she did. And the only way that she was able to get out of all that was because she had help.
Grandma,
the government, they were there. And so I just felt like in that moment, man, I realized, we've got to do something else. The city's got to do more. The state's got to do more. There should be no reason why people are living in poverty. Absolutely no reason why. When you got the masters in this city, you got all this money coming through the city of Augusta. We got so much money from the federal government. We need to put that money on the ground so that it can affect people. There's no reason why we wouldn't have a grocery store in the area. Now, we're fighting like hell to get one, but it should have been done.
right?
So like those types of ideas and those types of just experiences for me is what shaped my experiences. Not even so much high school and going to just, it just was not that. It was seeing it firsthand from Boys and Girls Club.
And it was it the need to want to change, want to help change, want to help do something?
Yeah, it was. And one of the biggest things was the playground out there. That playground looks the same now as it did when I used to play on it back in the 90s and early 2000s.
Jesus Christ.
And I was determined to get that playground fixed. And I'm still determined to get it fixed. Don't know how we're going to do it.
I'd say this is your promise year.
Yeah, well, that was the catalyst. Seeing the need and just figuring out how do we get that done? How do we get that done?
So in that Boys and Girls Club in Dogwood Terrace, that's District 1 as well?
That's District 2. District 1 is on the other side of the street.
It's so close.
Yeah.
The district thing is so weird. The map, are they ever going to remap that stuff?
Every 10 years. So gerrymandering happens. So what happens is every 10 years, based off of the population, the state legislature, which is the state house and the state senate, they come together and they redraw the maps for the state, and then your local commission and school board draws the maps for your local. What happened this time around was that the city of Augusta, the commission and the school board drew maps based off population. We don't want to stack a district. We don't want to pack a district, which means if there is, a district that's 70% black, why make it 85%? It makes no sense. If there's an area where, like the Jimmy Dias corridor, where they're experiencing lots and lots of growth, you got to cut some of that down, put people in another district to keep your districts even. So we got our maps as even as possible, but the state level, they took it, they ran with it, and made the districts more favorable to folks who perhaps have other interests than what we do. And so gerrymandering happens. And so when you look at this district, my district is, let's use it for instance, you come up Highway 56 from, let's say, well, this is going to be difficult to do. You start at the 520 interchange, right where Apple Valley is. Apple Valley used to be my district. It is not my district anymore.
Okay.
You keep going up Highway 56. The right side of the road, your Augusta Manor, the two neighborhoods on the right, that's one district, and everything on the left side of the road is my district. You go all the way up 56, Country Place and everything, that's one district. On the left hand side, Castle Pines and everything else is my district. That is just blatant cutting districts in half to serve political purposes.
That's how I didn't want to cut you off when you were saying it earlier, but I was like, the irony of you saying that, like, they want different to be as even as possible. I feel like Like District 1 is like the toughest district.
It
That's
is.
just me.
It is.
I mean, even I read your post, you got Harrisburg, East Augusta, Sand Hills, Glendale, Laney Walker, Central, Olive Road, Shirley Ave. Just right there. If I stop right there,
Huge.
those places people don't like stopping to get out the car.
Yeah.
I'm just keeping it real.
I get right out and walk around by myself.
I appreciate that. 'Cause like, I'm sure they do too.
Certain time, man. I don't mind. That's people. That's my people. I'm scared.
But you got Pineview, Castle Pines, Downtown, Old Town, Laney Walker Villa, Bethlehem, Country Club Hills, Lake Olmsted, Delta Manor. I mean,
It's huge.
it's a lot.
It's huge.
It's a lot.
You got everything down there. You got poverty.
I hope
got
you still
wealth.
watch wrestling.
I do.
Okay, because you need it.
Every chance I get. And you got a bit of everything in the district. If you name it, it's there. You know.
I do want to skip over, like I said, I know people know you in politics. I'm going to skip over a little bit of it, but I want to get into you running for the district,
Okay.
District 1, right? So what went into you running for that District 1? Because you was very in politics at that point,
Yeah.
right? And I'm skipping over some of the stuff too because I think some questions I would ask you, and you know and I know, some people have passed away. I don't want to bring up old stuff. It just made no sense. It's over with now. So with you running for a District 1, what went into that? What was your thoughts? And then knowing the people who also were running against you, did you ever feel like, dang, okay, now they might they got a solid campaign to run, so it's kind of tough to run against that person. Like, what was your mindset?
I never thought that. So I finally get to tell my story, and I'm glad you asked me that question because
I
I
ask good questions sometimes, every now and then.
Let's do it. So I didn't want to run. I really didn't want to run. My whole idea was just to lay low. I had just gotten elected chairman of the Democratic Party at 23 years old, and then I was approached to run for the District 1 seat. Right at that time, I had just came back to the district, just came back home, and that was controversial in itself. Oh, he just moved down here so he can run. No, I moved down here because I wanted to get out of my mama's house.
I heard that too. I'm glad you cleared it up. I heard that too. They said he don't live out there. He live up such and such. I said, oh, okay.
They said all kinds of silly stuff about me, and I get it. That's the nature of the beast. We were living in a hotel because our house caught on fire out in Helpsburg. 6 days before Christmas, the house caught on fire. We stayed in a hotel that whole year, came back home, got settled. I said, you know what? Family's good. I think it's time to go ahead and branch out and leave. Came back home, came back down to East Augusta, found a house for rent, $785. I said, sign me up.
Y'all got more of those over there? Scratching my neck, by the way, people.
I think mine was the last one.
Jesus Christ.
Now, mine was the last one. Now that same $785 home is renting for $1,000. No upgrades, nothing new, no new paint. Nothing new.
Jesus Christ.
But anyways, when I decided to run for the seat, I went to my parents and I told them that's what I wanted to do. And that's literally what sealed the deal for me. They said, if that's what you want to do, we support you 100%. We believe in you. And from then on, I just had to figure it out. Had to figure out how to raise the money. Had to figure out who to go and talk to. I made some missteps along the way because I didn't know Augusta politics the way that I know it now. But I was never concerned about any other opponent, was never concerned about any of that. Not because I thought I was better than anybody, but if I'm going to jump in something, I'm going to do it to win. And so my whole idea was to keep my blinders on and focus on my race. I was focused on making sure that blight was cleared up in the district. You got so many abandoned houses in this district. It's a shame. I ran on that. I ran on infrastructure. We ran on making sure that the community was taken care of. And the voters resonated with that. I walked every single neighborhood, knocked on every single door that I know of in that neighborhood. So much so that my shoes had holes in the bottom of them. And I didn't do it simply because I wanted to win. I did it because I wanted to hear what people had to say. Folks were tired. Folks felt so disenfranchised. So much so they wouldn't even talk to me sometimes. You're going to be like all the rest of them. We ain't going to be able to get you. You're going to be like all the rest of them. We don't believe in this, which is why I take this job so serious. But the campaign was rough. It was tough. It was a long campaign because COVID happened.
Yeah, how long was that campaign?
Oh, man, the election was May 2020. It was May 2020, but then COVID pushed it back to June. Then the runoff was August, but I started like June or July of 2019.
Yeah.
So I was on the trail for over a year, literally over a year, meeting people, knocking on doors, talking to folks, building my platform. It was tough. I was in the hospital like twice, dehydration once, dehydration twice. Actually, both times it was dehydration. It was rough, man.
How do you combat hearing things like that though? When you're running for something, and like I said, politics, so much of politics, at least to me, you let me know if I'm tripping, so much of politics from what I see rather is based upon like, it's almost as if y'all don't, I'm saying y'all because I'm just putting this collective, y'all don't run off like, okay, well, this is what I want to do. This person said, this is what I want to do. A lot of times it's like, this is what I want to do. This person said that, but X, Y, Z, it's like you're running off of attacking each other, which is politics, so fair game. that's the battle of it, right?
Yeah.
But how do you combat that when you get in these rumors or I've moved here for this reason, not for that reason, or something like that, or people feeling like and I'll ask you like if you feel like. Do you feel like race played a factor for you? And I'm leading up to other questions, of course, but do you feel like that played a factor for you? Where like in politics, do you use that to your benefit sometimes? Like, can you use your race? I mean, they've been doing it for years, I guess, but finally for us, we can use it to our benefit.
In my case, so you don't have to respond to everything that people say about you. They said I didn't live in a district. They said all kinds of crazy things. But my campaign manager was so great in making sure that I knew that I didn't have to answer to everybody. I knew I lived in a district, so why do I have to get out here and tell you that? I knew why I decided to run for office, so why do I got to get out here and tell you that? Only thing you didn't know about me is that you can't buy me and you can't boss me. And I did everything on my might to let folks know that at 24, 25 years old, this is who you're dealing with. If you're going to support me, understand that you're not going to buy me. Some folks say, well, it just seemed like you were the establishment's pick, that the establishment wanted you and they did everything to get you. No, they didn't. I pissed the establishment off every chance I got. They were upset with me.
I was going to ask you because you said you made some missteps, and I'm pretty sure that had something to do with it. But you being young, do you feel like any mistakes or missteps you made was based on your lack of knowledge, you just being young, arrogant? Like, what was it?
I think it was a little bit of all of that. I had an advantage being that I had led the Young Democrats for about 3 years. I was the state Young Democrats vice president and political director. I was the local political director and chairman. So I knew politics. I had a point to prove.
I was going to ask you, did you feel like you came a little too cocky a little bit, kind of? Or not really?
Cocky. I don't think it was cocky, but I had to let people know. And I think at the end of the day, they don't like that. They don't like people who are going to come to you and tell you straight up, you can't run me. You can't own me. You just will not have me by the tail. And I think as a young person in this field, you got to stand on that. You got to stand on that because they would come to me all the time. Oh, you the shining star. We're going to make you governor. We're going to make you this. You can't make me nothing. That's number one, that's God. And secondly, that's the people. If I don't do a good job, the people ain't going to give me nothing. They will flatter you and make you feel as though, as though you need them, as though you can't do nothing without them. Of course, partnerships and sponsorships, they have their place. But I felt like at that time, I had to establish myself as being somebody who would not be pushed around, who would not be bought, and who would not be bullied. And I know that got on some people's nerves. I know that.
How do you draw that line? Because you just made a good point there. How do you draw that line of knowing like, okay, you saying like you can't buy me, this, that, and third. And I know people listening, they're gonna love this question, whatever. But you can't buy me, whatever. But obviously, people have to buy into the campaign, technically speaking. So it's not the same thing, I guess, but it's politics like a kind of pay to play type of thing. It's like people feel like if they put a certain amount of money into your campaign, they supposed to put their arm on your shoulder and like you're agreeing with this or you're.
That's what they think.
So how do you draw that line?
You can change that narrative, and I think I did a pretty good job at doing that. And a good example is, and I don't want to go into too many details, but you have
smooth guy. That's a not smooth guy.
No, I ain't gonna go into too many details, man, because we just want to be, But I think at the end of the day, you had certain businesses who would come to us. I received donations from engineering firms. I received donations from lobbying firms. I received donations from so many different organizations. But I would tell them straight up, this check to my campaign does not buy you access to me, and it doesn't guarantee you a vote. And if you look at my record, with some organizations and some companies, I have stood on that. I have stood on the fact that if the facts don't line up, Jordan Johnson ain't voting for it. I don't care how much money you gave me. You took a risk on me, and I appreciate that. And then if you don't want to give it to me again, that's fine. But at the end of the day, I don't owe you anything.
Hey,
I owe the
Black
people.
Power, man. Black Power, man. I like that. I
Check the record.
I like that. I like that.
Check the record. Check the record. I owe it to the people in my district. If the people in my district need something, it's my job to get it for them. And I need to be able to lay down at night knowing that I did everything that I could under the parameters that I could. So politics, some folks do the play stuff, but remember, I was afraid to get in trouble when I was a kid. I'm not afraid to get in trouble now because I can control that. But what I am saying is I'm not going to get in trouble for no person. I'm not doing it. So at the end of the day, man, it's just about what you can do and what you can't do. But on that trail, I don't think it was a cocky thing. It was just me having to establish myself because I know how politics is. I know how folks will how they will try to take you and make you feel certain ways to get you to do certain things. And I just don't play those games.
And I asked that question, and not me personally seeing it that way or thinking that way, because I don't think that way. I seen your progression, which I'll get into the second. I seen your progression, which I love and like. But I do feel like with any politician, it's a bunch of narratives. You know, I mean, I don't get on here and spread people's business. People that's in politics and been in the jail report and did this and been had these cases. So everybody has their narrative, and anybody that know you from, okay, well, he had this case, he did this. That's what they're gonna know you from. So their narrative is always going geared towards whatever lines up with you being a criminal or a bad guy.
Right.
So if somebody else dislikes you and they say this about you, people that like them are naturally gonna like their narrative. So, and you got good narratives too. Like you know, it's not like all negative. You got positive, negative narratives, but that come with politics. Yeah. And that come with the job that you're in. So y'all gotta have like, you know, heavy shoulders, and y'all gotta be able to take all that stuff in. And I was just curious how you draw that line, because you will have people in politics, whether, and I've heard this just from behind the scenes, where they'll people give money to both of y'all, give money to you and give money to the opponent
all the time.
You know what I'm saying?
Every
like,
time.
whoever, I mean, to them it's a win-win, because they got it to give away.
Yeah.
But
every time they're betting on black and red.
I have to you know, speak on it, because I was around. Now your opponent was Michael Thurman, who I do know him well. I like him. He's a good guy. I have my own personal, you know, relationship with him, because I think I was in hospital one time. He came to see me. Nobody from my job really came to see me like that, but he came. He don't know me from nothing. I thought that was a good thing to me, right? But I do know that y'all ran on two kind of different campaigns, rather. I look at him as rich. I'm not gonna lie, that's just me personally. I don't know what he got. I just look at him as such. You know what I'm saying? So I was worried a little bit. I'm like, dang, I don't know, because you know, in our culture, so whereas the race might have been a win for you per se, because they can relate to you, people want to hear from people who do that. Yeah. So he said the same thing as far as like, you know, so many vacant houses down third. And I'm not gonna lie, I'll drive through there sometimes. I'll see Michael Thurman on the what's that, excavator. I'll see him on there driving, like, yo, he really out here doing this stuff. Yeah. I ain't gonna sit here and like cap him down like he do his stuff, right? Yeah. And I was like, this is gonna be tough, because here you have a guy who, like you, a young up and coming guy who knowledge wise know and can touch the people. Like they can feel the same. I feel the same thing. It's the same race, same background. You know their story. You've been through that same thing. But then you have another guy who feel like, okay, he ain't been through that. He don't know our story per se. But he probably got the funds, whether it's on his own or back end. And then he has just experience in that field. He rent properties, all this type of stuff. So I was a little worried. I was like, I don't know. That's gonna be tough. And I was living in District 1 at the time. Yeah. So I thought, I was like, it's gonna be rough. But you pulled it out.
The contrast, and I like Michael. Michael's a great guy. I saw Michael the other day. As a matter of fact, we were on the same fair ride together. It's this little spin around ride.
He's a cool guy, man. That's a cool guy.
Like I threw up. Michael said he didn't. I think he capping though. I think he capping. But I love Michael. And Michael's a good guy. We have our differences, and even to this day, we don't see eye to eye on almost anything. But Michael's a good guy.
I love the smoothness of this talk. Man.
I mean, he's a good dude. I like
on almost anything.
Almost anything. But he's a good guy. And I think at the end of the day, that's all I want to be known as. I'm like, is Jordan a good man? Yes. Yeah. I think Michael is a good man. But in that campaign, the difference was we were in the fight for this district. We know that this district is under attack. We understand that gentrification is happening in the district. I was a candidate that stood on the premise that we can change this community. We can build it, we can grow it without putting people out, without displacing elderly black people. We can do that. We don't have to close the projects to get a good grocery store. And I just think that the ideas were just a little different. What does that mean for me? I just think that whenever you're trying to communicate your platform, you have to do it from a place of purpose. You have to do it from a place of passion. I still feel that way. Nothing that I do on the commission today is done in a way that anybody would be affected in an adverse way. Now, you got some greedy landlords out here who are putting people out of their houses, and we're going to get to them. We're going to get to the slumlords. We're going to get to the greedy landlords that's jacking rent up for a one-room shack. Like, that's crazy. Fox Den rent went up. I'm not even going to do that. Anyways, the point that I'm making is...
Don't get me started, man.
The point that I'm making is we can support us. We can support the community in general without hurting one side of the track over the other. And I think that's where the conversation was just kind of was skewed there. I didn't throw any hard punches. I didn't go dirty. Nobody went dirty that time around. But at the end of the day, I think people just resonated with the message that we had to protect the district. And I've been doing my damnness every single day since being there to do that.
But I ask you this question: is it tough for you because can you bask in these kind of wins when people have their narratives and it's not really giving you props, so to speak? Because some people like, me and you spoke on the phone a while back before I was even doing visuals like that. I was just doing only audio. Podcast wasn't even podcast at the time. People know what it was half the time.
Yeah.
We spoke on the phone for like an hour some change, and you were just kind of giving me a side of a story or whatever, right? And I appreciate that because you listen to the podcast. Okay, let me give you my side because this is important for you to know. Because like I said, that narrative can be easily spun. I could just say, well, I ain't heard his side. I'm gonna go with him. He said, you know, and now I'll make my own illustration of what y'all going through. But do you feel like sometimes because you're so young that people put that narrative like, hey, they're picking you to push you? It's not nothing you're doing.
Yeah.
You just have to be young and they picking you.
Yeah.
Versus, well, I'm young, but I'm putting my work in and I'm doing what I gotta do so that I can be considered in these rooms or I can be respected in amongst these people.
Yeah.
And that's probably, what you do.
Yeah.
But so many people feel like, well, you've been picked and pushed.
Yeah. If only they knew the real story. If only they knew the real story, man. I can tell you account after account after account where I've been in rooms with people that I saw on the news that I admired, and they looked at me and turned their nose up because they didn't know where I was coming from. Who is he? Who does he think he is? Just a young kid trying to make it, right? Trying to chase after a dream, trying to do the right thing. So I can see with that narrative, because what other 20-something-year-old is chairman of the Democratic Party? What other 20-something-year-old is getting senators and Stacey Abrams and other people to come and support them like that? That's just, you just don't do that at 20-something years old. But I put this work in. And I've never felt obligated to go out here and tell nobody that. You will know that I put the work in when you start seeing the work getting done. You can't dispute $6 million in the ground in East Augusta. You can't dispute that. That's work. I mean, you just can't do it. And sometimes I had to do it by myself. I remember when I was first starting out in this game, right? I had one suit, one black suit, a couple white shirts from Walmart, and a couple ties from Goodwill. And I wore them things faithfully. I wore them faithfully. Go back and look at them old pictures, man, from back in the day. Oh my God, I sound so old. Go look at them pictures from like 10, it's been almost 10 years ago.
It's back in the day, man.
Oh my
10 years
God.
qualifies back in the day.
Jesus
just so
Christ.
you know. Yeah. After 7 years, it's back in the day.
Go look at them pictures. I was faking it till I made it. But they did not bring me in and embrace me. They did not do that. And I never wanted them to. But when I stood up and I started speaking what I spoke on that campaign trail from a place of humility, I thought I was very humble about what I was doing, but some people didn't think that. But at the end of the day, my whole thing was either you're going to hear the message and like what you hear and support me, or you're not. You got options. I'm not your only option.
Right.
But I was not christened. I was not planted. I was not chosen. I was not selected. I was not funded. Like, I had to work for all of that. And there were many times where I was just like, man, I ain't running for this. To hell with this. I'm done. I'm not doing this. I said that plenty of times, either after I qualified. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. And trust me, now that I'm 3 years in, it's still not easy.
I'm about to say, don't get no easy to do it.
I still have my days where I'm like, this city can do it without me. like they can do it without me. There's still times today where I'm just like, you know what? Ask Shonda Stovall. She'll tell you. Like, no, it's just not that easy. It's just never that easy.
This is a sidebar question.
Man.
You guys mentioned this. Where that suit from right there?
This suit right here?
Yeah.
Well,
like
this is Calvin Klein.
Okay, just
Right.
I'm write that down. Calvin Klein, 53 minutes.
Calvin Klein. I don't remember where I bought it from. It's a little. It ain't no suit, man. It's just a Calvin Klein suit. Matter of fact,
It ain't no suit, just a
it's
Calvin
just a
Klein
Calvin
suit.
Klein suit, man. It ain't like it's $1,000 or above. This suit probably costs about $100 or so, like $100.
Just 100, no big deal. Yeah.
I mean, but when you think about a suit,
I like it. That's all I'm saying. I like this suit, man.
but I ain't doing myself no justice.
No, not at all. Not this time. Yeah,
No,
it's not one of those smooth ones you can get.
I ain't trying to be smooth. All I'm saying is it's a Calvin Klein suit.
But I say to say like you put the work in to put that on. Like you started from the. You probably had George. I guess you had George too.
George shirts.
I don't know
And
who
guess
George
what?
is.
I
but,
still go and buy George shirts for $20 at Walmart.
I have to. I have no choice. But I mean, hey, look, that's what
You
it's
making
around.
me seem so elite right now, and I'm not. I'm
Jordan
just,
Johnson, man. Come on,
that don't
tighten up.
mean nothing. I'm not. I don't. Look, I still shop at Goodwill. Like I don't know why people think that I'm just living on the hill and driving Bentleys and
No,
Mercedes.
you regular.
I'm
You
not.
regular. You very regular.
Yeah,
I've
I'm
seen you
not.
out, and I've seen you like on a Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Where I seen you one time. You just had a white T-shirt on and some sweats. I said, "Hey, this is Jordan."
I got
I had to walk up to you one. I said, "Is that Jordan?"
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This morning I was walking around with some foam runners and some Adidas joggers and stuff, man, a hoodie. Like I bum it every chance I get. I don't dress like this all the time. And I think that is something that I don't think has been communicated because
Right.
whenever I'm on Facebook or my profile pictures, I'm in a suit and tie. Like it's marketing.
And people probably see it all the time and don't know that it's in you.
No.
You know. So,
No,
but I want to. So you win District 1, right? What your campaign? I want to get into more so that before I get into the campaign part, because this part is important. What is a commissioner supposed to do? Like, what is your duties? And this is important because a lot of times people complain about the president, about the government, about this, and they don't know is certain people got certain jobs.
Yeah.
You know, so they'll complain about the president for X, Y, Z, and that's not the president's job.
Yeah.
That's on a local level, but they don't vote local level stuff.
Right.
So I want from your mouth, what is a commissioner's job
All
to
right.
its district?
So if you look at it from a national perspective, you got the president, you have the House, and you have the Senate. The House and the Senate is Congress. They make the laws. The House and the Senate make the laws. The president is in charge of executing those laws. The Supreme Court is the judicial branch. They uphold the laws. That's how the execution happens. On the local level, it's the same thing. The mayor is the executive branch of the government. The mayor is the representative of the city. The mayor is responsible for leading the commission meetings. The mayor is responsible for signing contracts. That's the mayor's job. The commission is Congress. We're making the laws. We're doing the day-to-day operations. We're paving the roads. We're getting the stores. We're writing the ordinances. The commission is where the bread and butter is in the city. And then your court system, Jared Williams, LaJoy Williamson, Amanda
DA.
Heath, Kelly McIntyre, Omika Loggins. I feel like I'm missing some folks. I know I'm missing some folks. Ashanti Lily Pounds, Strong, Judge Walker. They are the ones who enforce the law. So if you have a blighted building, for instance, and you're not in compliance with the law that the commission wrote, you're going to go see Judge Williamson and Judge Brown in magistrate court. You're going to go see those guys. You don't want to see Judge Williamson. You don't want to see Judge Brown. So that's the comparison there. The commission makes the laws, and then the enforcement happens from your agencies. The commission is by far the most important position in the city of Augusta, hands down, because everything starts and stops with the commission, from the gas station that's opening in your neighborhood to the $1 million+ economic development project out of the industrial park. Everything starts and stops with the commissioners. Everything. So while you're focusing on what Joe Biden is doing, which you should be focusing on Uncle Joe. You need to be focusing on what's happening with your mayor and your commissioners.
I just feel like it's more likely that what's happening with the mayors and commissioners is going to affect you
100%.
before what Joe doing is going to affect you.
100%. Hands down.
That's all
You're
I
going
try
to
to
feel it
preach to people.
immediately.
Immediately, every day.
Yeah.
And I know Karen gonna kill me when I say this, but living in Pepperidge, it's a traffic light. It's like on Faircrest Avenue. There's some deaths there. I always say I need a traffic light there. I think Hassan was the commissioner over there. She
Good
said,
brother,
call him. I never really called him, but the thing is, it took me to say certain things to know, okay, well, I can't get mad at nobody but myself or my community for not talking to him about this.
Yeah.
Because that's something he can necessarily fix. I got the answer now after all these years, but it take that knowledge of knowing, oh, that's their job.
Yeah.
It's not the mayor's job.
No.
It's not this person. It's their job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It ain't nothing you can't request and get done in the city if you know how to organize. If you know how to get 2 or 3 more people who think the same way you think, you get your commissioner in the room and put that pressure on them, I guarantee you will be able to get something done. And when I say put the pressure on them, I don't mean be rude, but you got to hit them with the facts. You got to make your position known, because guess what? Everybody else does it. I mean, just watch the news. So if there's an issue in your community that you want to solve, call your commissioner. If you can't get your commissioner on the phone, text them. If you can't text them, write them. If you can't write them, show up at the commission meeting. You got to be able to make your need known to the people who can do something about it. And if they don't solve your problems, or if they don't help you, then you need to have another conversation in about 4 years. But at the end of the day, everything that we need to do in this community, we can get it done. Augusta, we call it Disgusta, but it's our fault. Like, what are we asking for? And I don't ever want to put that back on the constituents, right? But what I will say is that I know for a fact from my being in this seat that there are certain sides of town that always gets what they want.
Oh, definitely.
Always.
I mean, we see that. We see, and I know you see it even in the most. You in the rooms, so you see it. So you can tell me more about it because I want people to get this feeling too. Like, what are the meetings like? So yes, commissioners.
What are the meetings like?
Let me say this first.
My hair is going gray, man.
I know. I know they're important, and so I work in retail. I'll give you an example of what I'm asking to. I work in retail, and I'm now a bigger manager at my store. So it's like you said, it's the mayor. Well, I ain't gonna say, I can say, and inside the business, it's the mayor, then it's me, then it's whatever, right? So it's like that. So we have meetings every Monday, every Monday. Sometimes every 2 hours, 3 hours. You would think after that meeting, you come out, you get to it, you should have a good, nice run the store, right? No. Next week, you can talk about the same thing over and over again. It's like sometimes even after the meeting, people go home and just like nothing happened. Yeah. So the people that anything we talk about in the meeting is supposed to get related to, the public or whatever, what you want to call it, don't get related to. So it's like, okay, this is good. We're on the right path. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. Write these notes. I can hand that out. All right, cool. See you tomorrow. Yeah. I'm gonna go home and nothing happened. Take vacation. Be off 2 days. Whatever it can be. See you next Monday. Yeah. You know, and y'all meetings. They too long for me to watch. I'm not gonna say a lie to you.
Too long for me to sit in.
Yeah, I tried to watch a few times, but like I said, y'all on Monday. I'm on Monday, so my meetings on Monday myself. I can't watch them. I'm in my own meetings. Yeah. I try to watch back, but I don't know. Speak to me about not only the meeting, but it's y'all in politics. But I feel like there's so much politics inside that room and in general. Like before I get to the meeting, tell me what does politics even mean to you? What is politics like to you? When you in this realm, this is your field. You know, you the guy. What is politics to you? What does it mean?
It's just about who gets what, when they get it, and how they get it.
That's a beautiful answer, man.
That's politics.
You're right.
It's a distribution of resources.
You're definitely right.
It's about who gets what, when, where, how, and why.
And why? Oh, Jesus! And why? The why is what gets a lot of time because sometimes why is just simple as that person standing next to you.
It's politics.
I got a picture with him. That's why. Yeah. You know,
I'm voting for this person because his grandma used to babysit me, or you know, this is my friend. You know,
we Facebook friends.
How alliances are formed is so unique, right? But that's not a bad thing.
Not always, no.
But the meetings are long, and it's simple because you're governing a city. You can't expect to govern a city of 200,000 people, as large as Augusta is, in 15 minutes. It's going to take time. And some of the issues that we're dealing with are complicated issues that none of us have expertise in. So you have to lean on your staff. You have to lean on the people in the government who have the subject matter expertise. That can take a while. So we meet 4 times a month. We meet the first, second, third, and fourth Tuesday of the month. First and third are the full commission meetings to where all 10 of us vote on big items.
10 commissioners.
10 commissioners. And then the second and fourth are committee meetings. And so the committee meetings.
All public?
All public. And the committee meetings are when we break off into smaller groups to discuss the issues in more detail. So I'm the chairman of the finance committee, and I'm a member of the administrative services committee. And so on those Tuesdays, we sit together, we talk financial issues, we talk administrative issues. Whatever happens in those meetings gets forwarded to the main commission so that everybody can have those conversations. So they can be long meetings. They can be long meetings because this stuff never turns off. I mean, after one meeting on a Tuesday, literally the next day, sometimes the next hour, we're back on the phone. You know, one of us is talking to another one, or, you know, going to lunch, meeting with this business owner, meeting with that stakeholder. It never turns off.
So, and I asked that question because I was told, and let me know how this works. If you're trying to pass a law or something like that, right, you have to vote on it, if I'm mistaken. That's the process?
Yes.
Does it have to be a majority, all? Like, how does that work with the
majority vote? 6 votes. So 6 votes can do anything in this government except change the form of the government. 8 votes can change the form of the government. What I mean by that is our charter. So the city charter was established in '96, and it pretty much tells you how the city should be operated. Who are the players? The mayor, the commission, the administrator. Who can do what? 8 votes can change that, but 6 votes can do anything else.
So 8 vote can change you being a finance captain, or
6 votes do that. So 6. 8 votes can change. So for instance, the city administrator right now so this is a conversation that you're going to see coming up. This conversation about whether the mayor should have power, whether the city administrator should have power. 8 votes can change that because that is a matter of the charter. That is a I guess a standard that was set by state law.
Right now, it's the mayor that has the power.
The commission has the power right now. I'll say it this way: the power is shared across everybody up there. It's not saying
checks and balances.
Yeah, folks like to say the mayor don't have no power. Yes, the mayor does. It's the mayor. Like the mayor don't have no more power than I have as the commissioner. I don't have no more power than the mayor has. But we have different responsibilities, right? So the commission can fire a department head. The mayor can't do that.
Department head.
So
what is that?
So you have departments. You have your water department. You have your parks department.
Like water and park, like water and recreation.
Water, the utilities department, the
like
folks
the rec
who
center,
govern
stuff like
yeah,
that?
yep. So the rec cities, parks and recreation, like the stank water plants. That's your utilities department.
Yeah.
The landfill.
So you can go, not telling you, but you can go to Bernie Ward and fire somebody. The head, department head.
I mean, there has to be reasonable cause.
I know. I'm not saying you want to do that. I'm just saying you have power to.
Yeah. So yes, the commission can do that. 6 commissioners can vote to get rid of a department head. The mayor can't. 6 commissioners can vote to get rid of the city administrator. The mayor can't. But the mayor also has something that the commissioners don't have, and that is the power of public opinion. Like the mayor is always meeting with people. The mayor is always going to be the chief executive officer of the city of Augusta. Always. When folks come to the city, they don't say, I think I want to meet with Jordan Johnson today. No, they're going to go meet with the mayor's office. Why? Because the mayor is that guy, right? And so when you have synergy between the mayor's office and the commissioners, good things can happen. When you don't have synergy, good things don't happen.
Okay.
So historically, there's been an equal mix of the commission and the mayor having synergy. But 6 votes can do anything except change roles and responsibilities.
Got you. So 6 votes can change. If y'all want to push a law to, you can do X, Y, Z on this street, but not on this street.
Right.
6 votes.
6 votes.
All right. So is it ever a problem? Because like I said, it's politics. I don't know anybody's personal business. I'm just putting it out there, but I know enough to know y'all don't like each other. Right?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
I don't understand what this.
All right. I'm
okay.
not. I mean,
go ahead. Let me answer.
Let me phrase that question.
Because I'm about to go there.
I get what you're saying. 'Cause I guess definition wise, y'all like each other.
Yeah, we like each other.
Y'all don't all get along. Let me say that.
We do.
So all y'all get along.
Yes.
Okay.
So what we see on TV is a small clip of a disagreement. If there's a contract on the table and somebody wants $2 million, but I want to give them $1 million, of course there's going to be a disagreement. But we always come to the table to decide what's best. We find that middle ground and we get along. There's this thing called the consent agenda. 90% of what we do gets put on the consent agenda. We don't argue and fuss all the time. But we don't even get along with our spouses 100% of the time. And so you expect us to get along with people 100% of the time that we don't have no loyalty to other than doing the business for the people of Augusta? I think that is where this whole idea of politics comes into play, because that's where relationship building comes in. I've met and had lunch with every commissioner on that board. I have probably had words with every commissioner on the board minus Francine Scott, because I love Francine Scott. Francine Scott is amazing. But I get along with everybody, and everybody get along with everybody. There's going to be times when we're going to disagree. Simple as that. But at the end of the day, I think that we can all understand, like, you can expect some infighting. We're a legislative body. Our job is to make laws, is to run the city. That's not easy to do, but we get along to a certain degree.
I understand 100%. I agree with you on that, because like I said, I'm in that same field. It's a bunch of us be the same level, so like we might be in a chat and somebody might then do something. So we might say something about it in the chat, but I don't dislike them.
Yeah.
But it might come up that way because I'm getting on to you about, hey, step up, do your thing, you know. But if I see you and you need something, I'm gonna be there for you. I go get pizza, go get lunch. I'm getting bring everything back for the team, so I can get that part of, like, you know, I don't necessarily dislike each other per se.
No. They're great people. Great people.
But I do know that everybody has their own goals. Everybody has goals. Everybody wants to think a step ahead. It's politics, you know. Has there ever been, maybe not since you've been off? Yeah, you've been off for a long time now. You're a vet now. It's 30 years, man. That's it, man. This is it. That rookie stuff is over. But like, so you never felt like, okay, well, you had a decision on the board. Maybe it was something you initiated. Like, hey, I think we should do this. You never feel like somebody just said no because it was you that said it?
Yeah.
Okay,
I almost cussed. I had to catch myself.
That's all I want to know.
I had a flashback. Absolutely.
and to me, I'm not gonna lie, I do love that a little bit, but I don't, because I do feel like, hey, look, whatever you and Jordan got going on right now, like, put that to the side.
Man, I
It's-
can
it's
tell
a-
you
it's a
some
good idea.
stories. When I write my book, it's gonna be something.
Or it's a bad idea and somebody said yes because somebody else said it. And I'm pretty sure some of y'all got, like you and Frank, some of y'all got better rapport than other.
That happens
So
all the
because you put an idea out, naturally y'all probably think alike. The next person like, I like that idea. Jordan said it, yes, good, let's go.
Yeah, yeah,
Somebody's like, Jordan said it? Oh no.
yeah.
I don't, what is it? I don't care what it is.
It
No,
happens from
Jordan
time to
said
time.
it.
I mean, the tiny home vote. I don't know if you remember the tiny home project, the tiny
No,
home
explain
vote.
to me.
So the city of Augusta had been talking about passing a tiny home ordinance for a long time. I got in, and I even campaigned on it and got it done. Right, didn't get it done by myself. Had to get the commission support on it. Had to get 6 votes. I only had 5.
It's just that one you need
Just
right.
one dang on vote. One vote. Did not know where I was going to get that last vote from. And I used to sit next to Commissioner Brandon Garrett. And like, it's coming down to the wire. One of the commissioners told me, hey, I like the idea, but I just can't vote for it. Got up and walked to the bathroom when the vote started. Like, I got some questions. Got up and walked to the bathroom. I said, now all of a sudden you got to go to the bathroom.
That's funny.
And then I had another commissioner who just never would give me anything I asked for unless it was just something that he wanted to. Like, we worked on like certain things together.
Right.
But if he went completely clicked on it, because we clashed the most in public, he wouldn't give it to me. My colleagues, they were on it, right? Bobby Williams, Francine, all on it. But when it came down to the vote, I didn't know how I was going to get that 6th vote. If you look at my TikTok, I showed like this news article that was like, no big moves for tiny homes. And I'm sitting here looking at the camera like, Jesus, like looking frustrated. And the only way that ordinance passed was Brandon Garrett. Brandon Garrett, I'm telling you, he took a sip of Coke, like Coca-Cola. He looked at me. I looked at him. I said, man, I need your vote. He looked at me. He drank this Coke. And then when it got time to vote, he just pressed the button yes and walked off. And at the end of the meeting, I said, man, I appreciate you. He's like, yeah, I've been trying to get that done before you even got up here. And just walked off. So like, I didn't expect Brandon to vote for that, but he did. And I can tell you so many stories, man, to where like Sean Franham, Brandon Garrett, how those guys, Francine, Ben Hassan, it was nothing that Ben Hassan couldn't do in my mind. Like, he wasn't perfect, but Ben Hassan knew how to help folks get their accomplishments done. Mr. Mason, Alvin Mason, he supported me on a couple things. And so at the end of the day, there's going to be some differences made. Hardy Davis, when he was the mayor, he and I bumped heads on a lot of different items, but we always would sit down and talk things through. There's going to be times when we're not going to agree. But yeah, there's been plenty of times when it was just like, oh yeah, you didn't vote for that because I brought that up. You ain't vote for that because you want to do it first. It's all good.
I feel like so much of politics is strategizing because like, is it ever a thing like, look, this is a good idea. Look, I'm gonna let you go ahead and push this because if I say it, they gonna say no. So won't you go ahead and push it?
That before too.
Yeah, so I just wonder that stuff because like people don't get to see that side of it. Like me being in certain rooms and hearing certain conversations and knowing y'all on a personal level, sometimes you get to know a little bit more, you know. And I've always, like I said, anybody tell me something, I'll keep it to myself. But as I'm watching y'all, I'm thinking of the things I know. Like, oh yeah, that's what you're talking about right there. You know, so it's dope to see y'all all evolve and grow, but still be in those same rooms and able to maneuver. So I like that. But on in these meetings, right? Would you say like, is Monday your favorite day? Is the worst day? Like, what? I hate meetings. I don't know. Like meetings to me, I don't like them.
I don't like meetings either. Our commission meetings are on Tuesdays, so Tuesdays are my favorite days because it's like when I'm in commission mode, it feels like it's like Jordan fourth quarter. It's like he gotta I just look at it like this, man, and I know folks gonna say there he go, but no, seriously, I'm 29 years old, right? Was elected at 26. Grew up in the projects. I had so much working against me. To even have the opportunity to do this, it's just, I can't even give the words as to how it feels. And so that old scripture, to whom much is given, much is required. I look at it like that, man. I don't know where I would have been. I don't know where I should have been. But all I know is God has put me here right now. I ain't saying that I'm the chosen one or God got me on this mission. No, what I'm saying is it's a reason, right? And so anytime that I go to these commission meetings, even on days when I don't want to go, like today, did not want to go at all. The meeting started at 2 o'clock. I got there at like 1:57. Did not want to be there at all. Those days are still good days to me because it's worth it. Because some way, somehow, man, we're able to help somebody do something good. If that's helping somebody not get evicted, if it's helping a business get a few extra dollars to help them stay afloat, or doing a big economic development project to get you some jobs in the community. Like, it's worth it. Do I want to do it every day? Absolutely not. I go home sometimes at night and just wonder, am I doing the right thing? Did I make the right decision? Do the people still like me? Like, all the time. So it's not a cakewalk. It is not me walking with my head held high, chest puffed up, thinking I'm the man. No, there's times where I'm like, okay, did I make the right decision? It's times where I stay up at night. It's not an easy field to be in.
That saying you said, to whom much is given, much is required. I think that got me through a lot of stuff because when you take them positions where you're leaned on or the finger's always pointed at you or you always want to have to give an answer, even when you have nothing to do with it, you walk into problems every day that you have zero to do with. But because it happened in a certain area, and now it's your problem.
Yeah, I've been in office for 3 years. Everything that happened before me is my problem right now.
If they didn't fix it before they left out, it's your problem.
It's my fault. It's my fault. So some of the hardest things that I deal with is constituent calls. I get so many calls sometimes that are just so irrational. I get cussed out every day. Every day. Like, there's never a day that I don't get cussed out.
Jesus Christ.
Every day. Like, imagine that. My phone rings about maybe 20 or 30 times a day. And the majority of those calls are, I need help. I need it ASAP. Like, 911. If you can't help that person, or if I'm not able to help that person, I take that personally. They say you have thick skin. You can't have thick skin when somebody telling you I'm about to get put out. My stuff about to be on the curb, at 11 o'clock, and it's 10:30. Like, what do you do then? When I got in, we took on the homeless issue. Like,
I remember that. Yeah.
That is a hard task to take on. So, like, it's not an easy job, but it's a job that has benefit. Because if you're able to see the issue for what it is and you're able to take a stab at it, man, and that's not even say you're successful at that. Nothing that we do in a circle. As an individual, we do it together. So I didn't do anything by myself. The commission did it as a whole, right? But it's not. It is a challenge. But I say that to say this: we need more people in office who can understand what I'm saying and then take it and run with it, man. Like, politics ain't about getting rich and moving on to the next level. Like, all this councilman Tate power stuff, that stuff ain't real. It is about doing for people. It's about making sure that folks' needs are met. And if you're not in it for that, you need to go home and stay home. Like, it is something that is so valuable and people need to just tap into it. Don't let me ramble. Please don't let me ramble.
No, I like that because, I know people like to think about salary, and I know I made the joke about the suits and stuff, but the thing is, like, that's very minuscule to what you have to do.
Yeah.
The amount of money you get, like, it's a lot of hours that's not accounted for.
Absolutely.
I always say that once you salary, that's how they get you. But regardless,
nothing.
they can give you a good lump sum. You don't get paid. Hopefully, you get paid right. Something like that. But what's going to happen? Like you said, to whom much is given, much is required.
Right.
So I know you off, but I'm gonna call you anyway.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna take care of this issue because you in charge.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot to do with that. What's your like for an average day for you? Like, give me your day, sun up to sundown. Like, give me that real quick, if you don't mind.
I wake up at 5 o'clock every morning.
That's too early. I'm gonna just tell you right there. Okay, we gotta stop right there. Why you wake up so early, man?
Because, man, the day is over with by 8 or 9. If you think about it, when you get up in the morning, by the time you brush your teeth, take your shower, eat you some breakfast, and then figure everything else out, it's 10, 11 o'clock. The day is over with.
A lot of breakfast.
Well,
no, but you're funny. But look, I want you to finish, but I do think I agree with you.
You're a fool, man.
I think 24 hours is not enough time in a day.
It's not enough time.
I think we need. Can y'all pass that law?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
8
votes? No, ain't gonna do it.
8 votes can't do it.
Ain't gonna
Dick
do it.
Gregory said it. He said that the way they get you is by telling you that you need 8 hours of sleep.
You can't. No,
like, that's sleep deprivation.
You might need that, but I'm gonna tell you right now, yeah. I can't get none of 8 hours sleep.
No. So I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. The first thing I do is I drop to my knees and I pray. First thing is first. I gotta pray. Gotta thank God for waking me up. And then I do a little reading, do a little meditation. Gotta get my mind straight because by 7 o'clock, the calls are starting. I eat me a breakfast.
7 o'clock.
I get calls at 6. Man, I get calls at 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes.
That's why you was up last night. Why you messed me at 2 in the morning?
Hey, man, I message you in the morning because I'm laying in the bed brainstorming.
I know it. I know it.
I get the most work done like at night. So 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock is just my silent time. 7 o'clock, I try to do a little exercise. And by 8 o'clock, I try to be at the office. And then from there, I'm making phone calls. I'm reviewing agendas. I still have a real job, right? So I still have a full-time job. I'm working there, doing my work there, Georgia shift. I'm home sometimes 8, 9 o'clock at night. You know, after that, I'm taking my shower, trying to eat something, and then I'm back at it. I'm back working. I'll either sit on the couch and work, lay in the bed and work, do a brain dump, you know what I mean? But it never turns off. I'm always up, and then I'm right back up again at 5 o'clock in the morning.
I get days off at all?
No.
Jesus
No,
Christ.
there are days where the government is not on, like MLK, Christmas, those things. But even on those holidays, we're still working.
Yeah, because problem don't stop.
Yeah, the problem's never shut down. We're always doing something. Even over the Christmas holiday, we were dealing with pipes being burst when it was cold.
Yeah.
That was tough, and that was all over the city. So we don't get no days off.
I work in Aiken now, and it was real bad out there.
Yeah.
It was bad out here too, but I work in Aiken, it was really, really bad out there. We couldn't close the store down because our pipe burst inside the store.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's tough, man.
no days off. It's all good though.
And like I said, salary is one of them things where I say it's only the strong survive. That's what I say. Only the strong survive in them kind of things. So a lot of times, I'm not saying you can't complain about nothing, but people be hourly and they complain about stuff. And I be like, yeah, when you punch out, that's it. Like you kind of good, unless you just choose to do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I have not saying an oath. 'Cause I don't take an oath, but I signed saying, hey, I'm be working salary. So.
Yeah.
You know, I had an issue. I gotta go fix that.
Yeah.
You know, you'd be lucky to have a good team with you to make it to where it's easier for you to handle things. What would you say is your most your biggest win so far in office? Now, be careful. I'm actually your biggest loss too. So
I'm ready. I'm ready for it, and I'm gonna be thinking about that one too. I don't consider anything a big win, man. Really, I don't believe in victory laps. I mean, after one thing is done, you got to jump right back into something else. I don't believe in celebrating. Kobe Bryant said it. What are we celebrating for? We ain't done. Right? Celebrate when you're done. I look at, but if I had to say anything, I ran on, and it's so, let me see. I ran on blight and community revitalization. And when I got into office, one of the first things that Commissioner Bobby Williams did for me, and I thank him so much for this, he looped me into the blight ordinance conversation. He had a vision to draft a law to hold people accountable for the abandoned houses in the community. And I ran on that because I meant it. And he looped me in on the conversation. He made me one of the co-sponsors for the legislation, for the ordinance. And once that ordinance passed, I was super happy. We stood on the porch of a blighted property and signed the ordinance. Mm-hmm. And today that property is gone, and there's beautiful houses going on right now. So that's definitely one of them. And then I'm always going to go back to the work that we did in East Augusta. Eastview flooded. East Augusta used to flood all the time, and it still does to a certain degree. But we were able to earmark $6 million to be able to go in and put pipes in the ground and work with the neighbors in the area. I'll never forget Miss Smith. Miss Smith lives in East Augusta. When I was running, she invited me to her house, and she had on rain boots, and water was literally up to her thigh. And she showed me how it was just messing up the whole block. And once that project got going, I told Miss Smith, we're going to complete this project. And I don't know if she really believed me or not, but she said, I told her we're going to complete this project. And when it started, she called me and she was thankful for it. And I was just over to visit with her a couple weeks ago. So I really will say East Augusta and that blight ordinance was probably two of the big things that we were able to do. Commissioner Lee Beard was one of my political idols. He passed in 2004, and he started the Sand Hills redevelopment plan. Sand Hills was his baby. He was the first black principal at the Weed School in Sand Hills. He was not able to finish what he started because he passed away. And so we were able to get that revitalization plan that Mr. Beard wrote passed unanimously. So I'm proud about that as well. And just a host of other little things. But I guess if I had to choose my top three, it would be the blight ordinance, East Augusta, and that Sand Hills plan.
I want to ask about the laws, because I think it's hard to really determine that yet because you're still in office. You don't know until you either not in or something else. Mm-hmm. But what is something that you ran on that you haven't been able to fully bring to fruition yet that you kind of want to make that a priority to bring to fruition?
It's so much. I ran on making sure that communities were taken care of, that folks were taken care of regardless. And that's a tough job, you know? So when you look at the fact that this district is still a food desert, you know, you can't solve that in 3 years. Mm-hmm. You just can't. So when I run for office and my opponent says, there's still not a grocery store in the district, I'm going to say it first. There probably won't be. There probably won't be. You know why? Because at the end of the day, they shut down Cherry Tree Crossing. They shut down Gilbert Manor. They shut down Underwood. They moved the people out of the district. And when they moved the people out of the district, the amenities went with it.
But that was before you.
That was way before me. That was way before me.
But now it's your problem.
But now it's my problem, and I still feel the sting of it. And so what is my job now? My job is to make sure that the rooftops go up in the district, because when a grocery store comes into an area, they're not looking for goodwill. Oh, these nice people need a grocery store. They're looking for the dollar bill. So now my job is to make sure that people are actually moving into the area. We got apartments popping up every single day in the district in a way to where whoever wants to live there can live there. Mixed income housing, and we're still going to be stopping for other housing policies. You look at, paving roads. There's so many roads in this district that need to be paved. We don't have all the money to get it done, but I still want to be able to get that done. Affordable housing is something that I'm still trying to champion as best as I can with the members of the commission, because the fact of the matter is, it's just too damn expensive to live in this city right now. And everyday people cannot afford to rent at the rates that we're going for. That is a problem. That is a problem.
Even people that's making, and I would say a good salary is anywhere between a 50 and up. Let's say that's okay salary. I mean, it's better than most people. It's people in 30s, and they can't afford it. So imagine being above the median, salary wise or income wise, and you still can't afford to live.
Yeah, it's crazy
in certain places.
People making $30,000 a year, $34,000, $40,000, $45,000, and still can't afford rent.
Yeah,
it's just
impossible.
too high. And so when we're looking at stuff like that, they say, well, Jordan, what are we going to be able to do? We can leverage tax credits, tax incentives. We can pass inclusionary zoning ordinances that says if you're going to build 300 units, a percentage of those must go to low to mid income families. Like that's Walton Oats, the old Underwood.
Yeah.
That's how that happened. That's how Walton Green is happening. We can do these things. But you got to have the political will. You got to be able to get the 6 votes to make it happen. And I do believe the commission understands the need for affordable housing. But what I will tell you is $200,000 homes, folks are buying them up. You go to Colorado, they're going for $900,000. So Augusta is not as expensive as other places. But for our market, folks are struggling, man. Folks are struggling. And when you have folks, and I only say that because I have people calling me every day talking about they're getting ready to get evicted for missing rent payments. And that's with having rental assistance. That's with having rental assistance from the state and the local. The fact of the matter is, people are living in poverty. And you can't just simply budget your way out of poverty. It don't work that way. And, that's probably just a little bit of liberal and radicalism coming out of me. But at the end of the day, I think that is the biggest thorn in my flesh. It's the fact that we get so many calls about housing that we are not able to fulfill because the housing digest is just not there. Now, what are we going to do to make that work? We need to have a housing workshop. The city needs to come to the table and talk about housing from a perspective that's fact-based and that's solution-based. Because I'm not thinking about the developer who just wants to pad their pockets. I'm thinking about the woman who lives in Meadowbrook that just called me and said she's about to get put out and don't have nowhere else to go. She needs somewhere else to go. So what are we doing with the dollars that the state and the federal is giving us to help everyday people who don't know who their commissioner is? That's what keep me up at night, literally, and that's not a talking point. I literally have. You ever seen The Water Boy? Of course you have.
By Boucher, man.
Of course you have. Coach Klein had the green book.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I have a green book, man. I have a green book with all the thoughts, the times that I write them down. I got a green book. But again, don't let me ramble because I can do this all night. It's that is the biggest thorn in my flesh.
And that's why I like to talk to people that's into politics or just in that field. I always feel like I can hold my own. Like I know when to cut off and not, but I do feel like you're saying a lot of things that people need to hear. Because not everybody follows. Like they don't know when to watch the meetings and when to do this. So this is for some people in our culture. This is gonna be their longest time they ever heard you talk. Yeah, I do want to ask a few more questions though. Like, what I first want to do is this. Like, I think it's important for me to say. I should have said it earlier, but my first time ever really meeting you, I don't know if you remember, but it was at 520 Radio, and it was I guess they was doing some kind of interview thing. I was fairly new to what I was doing at the time. The lights, I was super shy.
Yeah.
I think I went second. I just felt like because I had Mo and them go first. They were talking the sexual stuff, whatever,
all of that, yeah.
And then I went. I'm like, just you, And then you went and you talked politics. I'm like, damn, did I get? Was that the bad part of the sandwich? Like, you know what I'm saying? But I sitting there watching. I remember how you was talking, how you spoke. And I'm like, damn, I like this, And then over the time, just watching you progress, grow, handle adversity, handle your name being slandered, handle other things, still progress, and then to become what you're becoming now and doing what you're doing now, that's very applaudable. I want to make sure that part is said to you. In the midst of everything, I joke a lot and I talk about politics and stuff like that, but y'all wear very hard hats, rather I say to say, and it's just disrespected. I want you to know that it's respected. Within y'all field though, right? When you talk about making these plans and stuff like that, how hard is it to make plans when all these plans take money and the money not coming out of necessarily your pocket per se, but you have to go when y'all do make these plans. Who or how is it calculated? How many you're gonna need? Where you go get it from? Like, how does all that work? Because that's like a strenuous process to me.
Yeah.
You talking about a grocery store? I mean, that's a lot of calculation to be made.
Right.
Even putting it somewhere.
Yeah. So with the grocery store, that's a private development. The city doesn't necessarily open up a store, but we can provide.
Does that help or hurt?
It depends, because on one end, the city could open a store. We could open a grocery store. We ain't gonna make no money off of it, but we could. But on one end, we could provide tax incentives and property to a grocer who want to open up in the area. So which route do you take? You don't put millions of dollars into building a store. You take tax incentives over a course of time and give it to a grocer and let them eat off of that. That's the route you take. When you talk about so I'm gonna go back to East Augusta. The East Augusta plan, that plan was funded through SPLOST. It was funded through stormwater. So some of these programs that folks talk about that we vote on and that some folks don't like, it's getting things done. When yards flood, and we have to go out there and take the trucks that suck all the water out, that's stormwater money. When the right-of-ways need to be cut, when you see the grass 7 foot tall, we got to pay for that out of stormwater. We got to pay for that out of other enterprises. This city has thousands of bank accounts, thousands of them. And it's very hard to keep up where all this money is going. I'm the finance committee chairman right now. And so if I didn't have heartburn yesterday, I have it now, right? Because you have to make sure that you're good financial stewards of the taxpayers' dollars. You have to make sure that you know where the money's going. So if there's a project, always identify a funding source. We have a city administrator, and we can always tell that city administrator, hey, we want to do this. Can you find the money? And 9 times out of 10, they'll be able to find it through SPLOST, previous SPLOST packages, the general fund, which is in our case, your checking account, or the reserves, which is in our case, our savings account. Just got to know which way to go. But the key is to be a good financial steward of the people's money, because you work hard for your money and you don't want us down there just, buying lottery tickets with your taxpayers' dollars. That ain't what we down there to do. Our job is to make sure that the money get put in the right place.
I know you mentioned you're walking around the district, jacket off and all this stuff, and I commend you. I love the district, but I do know that, in my opinion, you probably got, if not one of the hardest districts, right? When you think about the crime and the poverty in the area, how do you take that on, knowing that even in 3 years, even in 2 terms, that's something that's going to be hard to really change, because them areas have been in poverty since 88, 98, 2008, 2018, probably 2028. We hope not, but you see what I'm saying? How do you? So when you take this district on, and I know you mentioned you're not caring about the wins, but what are small wins, or what are small things that you can do to help you sleep at night, to say we are progressing somehow, some way, especially when you have all the crimes. I mean, last year, and it's not you per se, but last year, a little girl got killed from a lot of gang violence, the Josie homecoming shootout. When you have things like that continuously happening, what pressure does that put on you? Even though you already mentioned that that's kind of the DA kind of situation, but at the end of the day, when you be in the commissioner,
it's still my job.
Your line going.
And I said that on the news. When the news called me about it, I said at the end of the day, I take full responsibility for it, because this is my district. I can't pass the buck to the sheriff's office. I can't pass it to District Attorney Williams. I can't pass it to nobody else. Even though I have nothing to do with stopping crime in the district, I still feel responsible for it, because at the end of the day, these are our people, right? When the baby was killed in Southside, I don't even like saying her name because it hurts.
Yeah.
I was out of the state. I was out on the conference. As soon as I got back, I went to see the family, man. I used to walk on 3rd Avenue. I used to play on 3rd Avenue.
You was a kid there.
Yeah. I'm about to cry now. Bro, I used to play on 3rd Avenue, okay? When I heard about that, my heart was broken so bad. the shootout, well, not, I ain't gonna call it a shootout, but the shooting at Josie, the shooting at, at Delaney Gang with the young man from Thompson. Hell, even my house was broken into.
I remember you said that, yeah.
Like, they ran in my house and took everything, but the Bible. Like, I feel that. So what do? I mean, I ride my district every day. If I see somebody out there, I get out and talk to them. I try to hear what they're talking about. A lot of the problems that we have goes back to the fact that the war on drugs happened in my district. Back in the 80s and back in the 60s when the civil rights era happened, the middle class funded it. The 70s, the factories closed. This ain't Jordan, this is facts.
Mm-hmm.
The crack came in, right? Crack came in. People needed to feel good. The Umar Johnson theory.
Right.
It happened in my district. Laney Walker, Bethlehem, East Augusta, Sand Hills, Laney Walker, Harrisburg, Glendale, all these places. It happened there. Once thriving communities, when they took the jobs out, everything else went with it. And we're still feeling the sting of that. Yeah, we had all these other, good wins in the community, but where's the economic engine in Harrisburg? Where can the average person in Harrisburg walk to work? Nowhere. Where can the average person in the Laney Walker neighborhood walk to go to work to make some money for their family? Nowhere. If they get on the bus, it's going to take them hours to get there. So we're not necessarily fighting the gun or fighting the gang or fighting the action. We're fighting the system. We're fighting the system. When Jesus came into the temple and he saw them, gambling in the temple, he flipped the tables. And unfortunately, we're not flipping enough tables. If we know that the problem is an economic issue, why are we not solving it from an economic perspective? Now, there are jobs coming into the district, $663 million from what I understand, worth of economic investment in my district. But is that going to touch the young man in Harrisburg who's selling dope just to take care of his mom and his sisters? No, it ain't going to affect him. He's not going to go get a cyber job. He has no access to that. I say it all the time. You can teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime, right? Mm-hmm. But if that man don't have access to the pond, how is he going to have access to fish? This is an access to the pond issue. If you don't have access to go eat,
make a lot of sense.
Yeah, if you can't feed your family, what are you going to do? You can't hold on to hope. What is hope?
Yeah.
What is hope? The military don't hope they're going to win before the war starts. They already have a plan. You can't eat off of hope.
Yeah. Got to strategize, yeah.
You can't eat off of that. And so I get passionate about it, man, simply because at the end of the day, people are struggling. And we would rather sit around here and play Mickey Mouse games and instead of just making sure that people have food to feed their families. That's a basic right. That's a basic need that we're responsible for people having. That's where your gang violence comes in at.
Yeah.
That's where people shooting folks over shoes and over chains and stuff. So they can, you know what the young man who broke into my house stole from me?
What's that?
Jewelry. And when I found out he stole jewelry, I went to court and asked the judge not to prosecute. Because that young man, he ain't a thug. That young man ain't a bad young man. You know what he tried to do with my jewelry?
On it?
Sell it on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh,
and that's the only way that I knew that it was my stuff, because I put it in Facebook Marketplace and I made contact with the young man. He said, that ain't your stuff. Da, 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 da. Bro, yes it is. Come on, man. Give me my stuff back. But you know what I told that judge? Don't prosecute him. Don't send him to jail. Let me talk to him. Young man got a job. So I don't know what he's doing now, but the point that I'm making is you cannot address a systematic issue by being tough on crime. Being tough on crime just means throwing people away and locking them up. You can't be tough on crime. You got to be tough on poverty. If you're not tough on poverty, nothing's going to change. And that's where I wish we would get to as a community.
What do you see for, like, I mean, now I know you got your own task at hand. Like I said, you in year 3. But like, what's some goals you got? Like, what do you see for yourself? I mean, obviously, everybody pretty much knows that there's no sky's the limit for you, of course. But like, what do you see for yourself? Like, what do you see yourself doing and being like years
Honestly,
from now?
man, I don't think about that. It's too much to think about. The commission takes most of my time. What I really want to do is get married and have some kids.
Okay, I see you.
I see you. Al Green, I'm so tired of being alone.
Hey, nah,
I just want to get married.
If you're
and
gonna be
have some
smooth,
kids.
you gotta do like Obama and sing the song. So go ahead and sing
I ain't
it.
singing nothing.
Yeah, he sounded smooth singing
He
that
did.
song.
He did.
He sounded smooth.
Obama. But no, I wanna get married. I want to have some little Jordans running around, man. I want to be able to say I left something here other than political stuff. And what I realize is, man, after I die, they'll replace me within a week if I die in office. If I die out of office, they'll mourn me for a week and it will be on with our life. But I want something more than that. You know, political positions is one thing, but I want something more than that.
Definitely, man. Look, this was dope. I do want to tell people, like, because I think the general consensus that people in the office aren't accessible. You can't find them, how to find them. If you can give me a spill real quick, I know you know the information. Anybody that's watching that, whether they made it this far, with I'm putting clips out, so it don't matter. Like, how can they? I know the answer to this. But I want you to. I know you know the answer. I know the answer to this. But how can they find out, one, who their district commissioner is, right? And then two, if they find out, how can they contact them and what issues are things that they should be talking to their commissioner about?
So first, you can find out who your commissioner is by just going to the city website, augustag.gov, going to the government tab where it says find your commissioner, the commission tab, and find your commissioner. You put your address in and we'll pop up.
Right.
Our phone numbers, email addresses, all that stuff will pop up. You can always call or text your commissioner. I say get on Facebook. You know, you can probably get me on Facebook quicker than you can get me.
I never. I don't think I ever called your phone. I always hit you on Facebook.
That phone rings all day. Like, it rings all day and all night. And sometimes I'm like, Jesus Christ, can I get 5 minutes?
Just 5.
Just 5. But hit them up on Facebook, talk to them. And when you talk to your commissioner, just make your request known. Whatever you want in your community, bounce those ideas off of your commissioner and see what your commissioner says. I think at the end of the day, we have some very logical thinkers. They are very approachable, very nice people, and you won't have much issues with your commissioners. Just have a conversation with them.
I can definitely agree. I can say this. Anytime I've reached out to a commissioner, they've always reached out back, and I even have some called 2 or 3 times, and I didn't answer back just to make sure. Hey, look, you good?
Yeah.
I don't want you to say I didn't call you back.
Right.
What's going on?
Right.
So I've never had any kind of dealing, but also I know how to reach people because, well, for one, I know Karen Gordon, so I'm just going to always go to her first of all.
We all work for Karen Gordon.
Yeah, Karen Gordon's. That's
Karen
the mayor.
Gordon in the
That's the boss. You know.
I was messaging Karen last night too.
I saw him today, but I said I ain't going to do it. I was surprised with this. I was going to surprise her with this. I ain't going to do it.
I didn't tell I was coming today, so.
Karen's you know, Karen is Karen, man.
We work for Karen.
Definitely.
Yeah.
She's too smooth, man.
Yeah, she is.
The cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, this was dope. I love it, man. I feel like too now when I put this out, I know other people gonna hit me up wanting to come on. I like to do politicians or politics and stuff like that. I don't shy away from it. I just feel like getting your story out there was dope and getting people to know who you are because I do feel like this piece of content we got is gonna be something that a lot of people that don't watch the news, don't know.
Yeah.
Or don't have a TV, but they got Wi-Fi or whatever, right?
Right.
This is what they're gonna see. So I'm appreciative of the time. I know we went a long time, but it was definitely worth it, man.
Likewise.
The 2 years I waited was worth it. Yeah,
was it 2 years? Yeah, it was.
About
right around 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about 160 when you last. I'm 200 now.
You know. You 200 now?
200 solid, you know.
I lost 17 pounds over the summer.
Oh, yeah. I seen that you lost a lot. I seen you lost some weight. I seen you how you were jogging, you were doing your thing. You know what I'm saying? And you stressed out, so it's all good.
I was stressed. Yeah, look, stressing will make you lose a couple pounds. Like this, like you mentioned, a suit. I wore this suit back in July during my town hall series when I went neighborhood to neighborhood in 1 week like a nut. I couldn't even close this jacket. Today I can close it.
There you go. See, small wins, man.
Yeah, man, small wins. But I really hope that you know. Something that I said tonight would really help somebody say, you know what, I want to get involved too. Because really the difference between where we are and where we want to go is us showing up and making it happen. Lee Beard, greatest politician that in my mind to ever live in this city, said it best. Things don't just happen. You have to make them happen. We can hope, we can pray, we can wish and all these things, but all of those things are action words. You have got to get up and do something. And so if I can help you get plugged in, hit me up. But at the end of the day, we just got to do something. And I'm looking forward to the future of this city, really am.
Last question, because you mentioned the favorite politician. Who's your favorite speaker of all time?
Favorite speaker of all time would probably have to be Nelson Mandela.
Nelson Mandela, okay, cool.
Yeah, cool. Nelson Mandela had an amazing way of communicating a thought. Yeah.
I like Fred Hammond, but I know it's not the greatest thing to be saying because people don't like him for some reason. But
I got a picture of Fred Hammond on my desk. Fred Hampton on my desk.
I didn't think of that young person being so wise, 20 that age, and talk how he talked was crazy.
Yeah. Fred Hampton. I have a picture of Fred Hampton on my desk, and I have a picture of Stokely Carmichael on my desk.
There you go, man.
I'm with it.
You
Fred
still
is the man.
you still be practicing your Obama in the mirror?
No, I don't have time for that no more.
You ain't got time for that.
Man, look, that was like, no, I don't have time for that no more. I'm busy. I'm busy. President Obama's out here making Netflix specials, so that's another conversation.
Well, we're waiting for your book to come out. You be there soon, so I ain't worried about it, man.
Oh man, you too kind, bro.
You be there soon, man.
You too kind.
But yeah, man, this was dope.
Yeah.
Shout out to you for coming through, man. I appreciate it. What time is it now? It was 8:49. You know what I'm saying? John Johnson is out. He about to go home, lay down. His phone probably been ringing off the hook. I seen him.
You saw it ringing in
It ringing the whole time you was
Yeah.
talking. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you for not cutting it short. But we 1:45, so hour 45 minutes. This was dope, man.
Yeah, bro.
I appreciate you, man.
Anytime.
Morning Masters Podcast. We out. That was dope.
Yep. I had a meeting.